Morning, Richard. We are live, an emergency random live stream this morning.
Indeed, Paul. Indeed.
Yeah, good.
I just want to be a little bit light before we get into the serious stuff. If anybody can see, if anybody can see anything around my teeth, when Paul phoned me, I was stuffing a bowl of Alpen into my face. So, so, so if I start choking during the live stream, you know what's going on. I'm not having a coronary. It's Alpen, right? It's Alpen, which probably isn't the healthiest breakfast. Anyway, putting all that to one side, serious stuff, Paul. Over to you, mate.
Yeah, good morning, Richard. I mean, I've woke up this morning, had an early night last night. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously this broke sort of last night. I'm an hour in front. We had an early night after taking the kids out, and I've woke up this morning to see yet another absolute disaster, an absolute horror show.
Yeah.
What do we know, Richard? What do we know?
Well, I mean, this is always the problem, Paul. As of last night, the Daily Mail. Now, this isn't me talking, so just before anyone starts being, accusing me of spreading fake news, this was the Daily Mail last night. Counted it as a terror attack straight away. Said Operation, whatever the operation is that they call whenever there's a marauding terror attack. So they were classing it as a marauding terror attack last night. There were reports of a man shouting Allah Akbar. I think this was reported either on Sky News or on the on the Daily Mail, and so it's a terror attack. Simple as that. It's a terror attack. 9 people seriously injured. Thankfully, nobody's been killed, which is a miracle in itself. And it's just, do you know the frightening thing about this is, Paul? This is getting like Northern Ireland was during the Troubles. You're waking up in the morning and you're going, oh, well, didn't affect me or anyone I know. Do you know what I mean? That if we're just brutally honest, this doesn't shock us as much as it did in 2017.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not the same scale. There are no fatalities, thankfully, but it's still an absolutely horrendously and horrific attack. So that's what we know. That's what we know, Paul.
If anyone is in the area, if anyone has anything that, if you were around that area, there's someone in the comments now saying that I live in Huntingdon. Look, I'm going to put a link in the video. I've just popped a link in the chat there. And if you want to hop on, if anyone wants to hop on, have this this morning, please feel free to do so. I mean, Richard, do you know something this morning? It's gone beyond anger for me. The bottom line is this:
yeah, totally. We need solutions, Paul.
Yeah, we need solutions. I mean,
listen. The thing is, Paul, there are solutions there, and this is what I want to do. I think it's very easy, right? And in a way, it's good that we've gone beyond anger. I'm angry about it. I'm absolutely fuming about it. The betrayal of the country. I'm absolutely disgusted with Islamist terrorism. I've got, as you know, this is one of those situations, it sounds terrible. I've been talking about this since 1998 publicly, right? So, and back then people just didn't want to know. They just didn't want to know, right?
No.
And I've known about it since the 1980s.
Richard, they still don't want to know half the time. No. I'm watching, I'm looking at X this morning, and there's people on there this morning still slagging Tommy off.
Let's call the problem what it is. The problem is Islamism, i.e. political Islam, people who want to impose Sharia law on the country, and jihadism and fundamentalist Islam. Those 3 strains, which...
Richard, can you turn your audio up? A few people saying that your audio needs to go up a little bit, mate. That's all right. Or get a bit closer to your mic, one of the two.
How's that? Any better?
That's better, mate.
Do you know what I'll do? I'll turn my audio up by putting my microphone stand's made up of books.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Is that better, guys?
That's better. Yeah, that's better.
Is, no messing about with the audio engineering here. Sorry. So I think the reality is we've got to call this for what it is. We've got to be very specific in what we say. Okay, so this is jihadism. What happened last night was a jihadist attack, which comes straight from the pages of the Quran, the Hadith, and the life of Muhammad, right? So it goes right the way back. This is jihadism. This is the violent side of Islamism, and this is the violent side of fundamentalist Islam. That's what we're seeing here. So this isn't an abhorrent, this isn't something that isn't connected with Islam. It's like saying the IRA weren't connected with Ireland. The IRA were connected with Ireland. Of course they were. Of course they were. And they were very proud to say they were connected with Ireland. So let's just call it what it is, Paul. And, if I'm wrong and this is some sort of white supremacist, head case, doing some cosplay, then I'll apologise. But I know I'm not wrong. We know exactly what this is, right? So
David's got a great point there. I mean, look, the so-called king must dissolve this shit and dangerous government. I mean, look.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, David. You don't, because it's not going to happen, right? Let's get.
But Richard,
you know
if King Charles wanted to,
Paul, I'm sorry, we're wasting our breath on this sort of stuff, and it's a distraction from the real issue. I'm angry more about this sort of stuff because I'm not insulting you, David, but it annoys me because it's not going to happen. What we need are real solutions.
But it should.
I'm going to give you real-time solutions. What we can, things that we can do practically now. Okay, not in 3 years' time, when hopefully the Greens don't win the election, or we get a Green and Labour coalition. Right? My goodness. I mean, one of the things that really, really worries me more than even these evil psychopaths that are running through trains chopping people up are the 16% of people that will still vote Labour and the 17% of people that said they're going to vote for the Green Party. That's more frightening than anything. It's absolutely horrific. Because the truth is, Paul, we've got to be very, very first of all, if you're in a conflict, you've got to know your enemy. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah? Okay. So we've got to know who the enemy is. And the enemy is Islamism, fundamentalist Islam, and let's call it jihadism, the violent strain of that. That's what the enemy is. And they're all connected. It's like that video I showed the other week that a Muslim lady made, incidentally, just before someone starts saying, oh, you hate all Muslims. I don't. I don't hate anybody. But the reality is there's a massive problem in Islam with jihadism. And what's happened is our governments, plural, since the 1960s have incrementally increased the number of Muslims in our country. So just by pure mathematical logic, the more people you have from that faith, the more extremists you're going to have, the more jihadists you're going to have, the more Islamists you're going to have, the more Islamic fundamentalists you're going to have. And again, let's put the stupid caveat we all put on this. We know it's not all Muslims. Okay, I'm bored of that one, but we have to say it just because we have to say it, right? The reality is there's a massive number of people in this country right now that shouldn't be here. There's a massive number of dangerous people in this country that are capable of doing those attacks. 3,000 people, Paul, on the watch list can make bombs. 3,000. Think about that. So what we're seeing now, we're not even in the foothills of what could happen.
Richard, this is an interesting comment because we don't know yet. It's not been confirmed yet. Voltsex says the stabbers were Black Caribbean Christians, not Muslims. Don't lie. I mean, I
don't believe that. They weren't
well, I was going to say, where did that information come from? Because at the moment, nothing yet has been confirmed.
That's some fake account that hasn't even got the guts to put your real name to that account and then go and quote that comment again.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that for a minute. Look, the police are saying it's a marauding terror attack. Why would and that's a slander against Black Caribbean Christians. I've got a lot of friends that are Black Caribbean Christians.
Yeah.
And you need to go and give your head a wobble, whoever you
are. No way would they do that. No way would they do that.
Yeah, exactly right. So I mean,
Richard,
this is the sort of fake news that gets blasted at us. If I'm wrong on this, I'll do a public apology. If they're Caribbean Christians, I will do a video on my own and say, Volt, whatever your fake name is, I apologise for getting it wrong. But here's the thing: even if it was, which I don't believe for 1 minute, the trajectory is completely in the opposite direction. Guy that murdered the Wayne Broadhurst, right? Afghan migrant, yeah. Guy that stabbed and murdered one person at the Jewish synagogue and basically was responsible for the death of the other man at the Jewish synagogue. Islamic fundamentalist, right? The guy that stabbed 3 homosexual men in a park, innocent men that were just hanging out, stabbed them to death in Reading, terrorist attack, Islamic fundamentalist. I mean, I can go on. If you want to vote whatever your name is.
Richard, I need to stop you for a moment, right? There's a number of people still saying that you need to turn your volume up more. Now, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay.
May I politely suggest that those that can't hear Richard properly turn your volume up, because Richard's coming through loud and clear to me. Now, I'm not saying that I'm right, and but maybe you guys need to turn your volume up. People saying there's no sound. I mean, that's nonsense. We've got over 3,000 people watching, and 99% of it.
So I'll get the mic a bit closer still. What about that, guys?
Yeah.
I mean,
Richard, your volume's fine.
yeah. I mean, I haven't changed it. Nothing's happened with it anyway.
Yeah.
But
Turn your volume up, mate. Turn your
Richard loud
volume
and
up.
clear. Richard loud and clear. Look, but here's the thing, Paul. The reality is with this, these are the solutions, right? And there are solutions that we can do very practically, right? Now, as you know, Danny Tomo made a video which I was critical of last week, calling men to do whatever. I don't know what he was calling to do, and that's why I was critical of it, because it was very right. Let's take the street sort of thing. Where he is right, where Danny is right on that, right? The men of England are the answer to this, and I'm going to give some very practical suggestions. We're not going to break the law. We're not going to do anything illegal. But what I would suggest is every man that's able-bodied, under 70 years old, starts working out, starts lifting weights, starts going to a mixed martial arts club, starts doing a little bit of boxing.
Steady on, Richard. That includes me.
I know, mate. I know. Well, you've got Danny. Danny can train you, mate.
You won't get me in the gym.
We've got. But no, Paul. I'm deadly serious about it.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, mate. Yeah.
You know, okay. Here's a thing, right? Say you went and did some basic self-defense classes. Now, obviously, in a normal situation, if some mugger comes up to you and pulls a blade, unless you're a flipping ninja, you just give him your wallet or your phone or whatever, because you don't want to get stabbed 20 times by some young buck that's, again, just off the boat and has no respect for people of any age, any colour, or anything other than seeing the UK as a cash cow. So we've got a few different things here. We've got the violent criminals who are criminals and they don't care. They're just horrible scumbag people, right? They're from all backgrounds, all religions, all races, right? And then you've got the jihadists, right? Now, if you're in a situation, and it was Ray Lama, was it Ray or Roy Lama, the line of Millwall? Now, Ray was not, like, as far as I know, trained in any martial art or anything. He was just a tough guy, right? And he took a stand, and he nearly died taking that stand, but he saved a lot of people's lives. And again, I don't know what happened on that train last night. You know, if it was Christians from the Caribbean, right? Whatever. But whatever happened on that train last night, if somebody had have really got stuck in when that attack first started, and I'm not criticising anyone that was on the thing, and really went at one of them, he may well have died, right? If you take that step, you may well die. But here's the thing, Paul, if you've got some basic training in self-defense and knife defenses, they are not going to stop you getting stabbed. You're going to get stabbed, but you're going to have a chance of saving a hell of a lot of people's lives. And you think about this, Paul. Our forefathers stormed the beaches of Normandy and died in their hundreds. So I would like to think that if you or I were on a train and there was kids and women on that train and someone jumps up with a knife, starts shouting Allah Akbar and stabbing people, that we would go and take a blade for it.
There's one in the comment. There's one in the comments here. An old man covered a young girl. He took the knife wounds to his head and neck.
See, that's
in a bad way now.
And that is exactly the sort of heroism that you need to see. But this is exactly the opposite of what the government tell you to do from 2017. And I was very critical of this in 2017 because the doctrine was, if there's a terror attack, run, hide and tell, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So run away. And I said, I'm an army veteran, and I'm not a hard man. I'm not a fighting man. I haven't had a fight since I was in my 20s. You know, I don't go looking for trouble. But here's the thing: if I was in that situation, I hope I wouldn't freeze. I hope I'd do what the old man did and put myself between the knife man and a woman and a child. Because if you don't, how could you live with yourself after that, Paul?
Yeah.
You know. So this is the point, though, Paul. The point is, what we need are men who are physically strong enough and robust enough to react in the situation. And it can't just be policemen. It can't just be special forces soldiers or infantry soldiers or paras or marines or whatever. It has to be Joe Bloggs in the street that can go, do you know what? I'm not having that. This is England. You know, we're not going to let this happen to our women and children. So this is a very practical thing. Now, hopefully nobody listening to this video, including and me and you, Paul, will never be in a situation where we're in that situation. But wouldn't it be better if you had a few basic skills that you could at least take some immediate action if somebody with a knife, and look at what they do. They strap the knives to their hands. It'd be interesting to know if these. I'm really annoyed about that comment. You know, and in a way, I wish I hadn't even given it publicity and put it on the screen.
What comment? What
The one
comment?
about Christians, Caribbean
Oh,
Christians.
yeah.
You know,
Just move on from it.
but
Rich.
anyway,
Just
but
move on.
but these jihadists, they actually strap the knives to their hands, right? So you can't do a block to actually knock the knives out their hands. So what needs to happen is people need to have some very, 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 very basic drills on how to defend from those sort of attacks. And to be honest with you, it doesn't matter who the attackers were last night. The fact is, they managed to stab 9 people, and you know yourself, Paul. If somebody's on a rampage, you can be stabbed before you even know you've been stabbed.
Yeah, I'm going to give people some advice in a minute about how they can protect themselves on public transport, on a train. You know, we all know that in the UK. Hold on, Richard. We all know that in the UK, you can't carry anything that is, you can't carry pepper spray, etc. There's some right dirty lefties in here today. Oh, listen, they're around all the time. Don't worry about that. They're the ones
that are to blame.
They're the ones that are to blame.
Absolutely.
They are the ones that are to blame. I tell you what, whilst I hate the terrorists, whilst I hate the people that do this shit, the ones that I really detest are the liberal lefties, the communists, the bloody convenient allies of these Islamists,
that are running the country.
Scumbags that are running the country, the politicians, the Labour government, the Tory governments that came before them that did exactly the opposite of what we asked for and what we voted for. But here's the thing.
Banana Mahmood. But
here's the thing,
last night,
Richard. Oh, one sec, mate. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Let me give you some advice, people. Right, if you are travelling, if you've got children, if you've got members of your family going out and about on public transport anywhere in the country right now, get out and buy yourself a small can of WD-40. Right, WD-40. And the reason I suggest WD-40 is this. It's not illegal to carry. It is a water disperser. It disperses water. If you get WD-40 in your eyes, you can't see or do anything, but your eyesight is not a permanent risk. WD-40 is the best potential self-defense spray that you can carry legally.
Yep.
And if anyone wants to know why you're taking it, if anyone wants to know why you're holding it, well, your bike chain's a bit rusty. Get out there and buy yourselves a can of WD-40. Do not travel on the trains, the underground, or walk around the streets of any dangerous areas without a can of WD-40. And you can even put some red tape around the can so that it looks a little bit more intimidating if you have to get it out.
Yep. Just a couple of points on that one, Paul. Now, I'm not suggesting this for a minute, but when I was in the army, we used to mess about with WD-40, and if you lit up a lighter and then sprayed the WD-40 over the lighter, it turned it into a flamethrower. So
well, I've seen people do that. Richard, I've seen people do that, but that's usually after a night out in the curry house.
Exactly.
But
we used to do it when we were just messing about in the block when we were kids in the army. But no, WD-40. The other one is fly spray. There was when we first started doing this. Sam Solomon, who's passed away now, introduced me to an ex-CIA officer who was working with Sam. She basically got thrown out of the CIA for being too much on board with our way of thinking. Let's just put it that way. And well, not thrown out, but she was asked to leave. So she came over and she used to give us a lot of briefs on what was happening with Al Qaeda and all these sort of different things. And she said the best self-defense weapon you've got if you're in a country that's not allowed to carry firearms is fly spray. Now, fly spray, obviously, they're quite big cans, but again, fly spray will just incapacitate you. A lot of sprays. If you spray something in someone's eyes, it absolutely, totally disables them straight away. Or if you stick something in somebody's eyes. There's another one, Paul. I'm going to show this on screen. Can you see that, Paul? Now that is a pen. Okay, it's a completely legal pen, but it's made out of cast iron. And if you're in a situation where somebody's attacking you with a knife and you've got that pen, and you've got the quick thinking, you can be quick thinking enough to get the pen out and retaliate. Again, it's self-defense. You can use it as a baton as well. You can use both ends of it, and it's just a pen. And I use it for my writing all the time, and it's not illegal. You can get them on Amazon for, I think they're about 15 quid. It's a very good pen actually as well. So a big strong metal pen. You stab someone with a metal pen, you're gonna take them out. And we're talking about self-defense here. We're not talking about anything silly. But there's loads of things you can do. Other things I would think, if you have some sort of bag on you that's very robust and has some potential to shield people from it. If you think about the bottom of a hold all, they're quite strong. So again, anything that you can use to stop that knife hitting you or hitting your loved ones or hitting anybody around you is what it's all about. And it's having the foresight and the thoughtfulness to actually do what needs to be done, which again, why I think self-defense training is a good idea, because then you're drilled and it hopefully comes instinctively. When people talk about people doing heroic things in wars, a lot of it, what happens is the training just kicks in and they do exactly what they've drilled and they've trained for years. And it looks very heroic, and it is heroic, but they're doing what they should do because that's what they've been trained to do. So the more you can train, the better. Can I give you an example, Paul?
Yeah, fire away. I'm just looking at the comments.
Okay, so during the Troubles, there was a UDR soldier, and the IRA tried to murder him twice. He was a part-time soldier, and he worked as a plumber for the housing executive. And both times they tried to attack him, he actually returned fire, and I think he injured two IRA men on two different occasions. And they were coming really mob-handed with heavy weaponry, and he just had like a 2.2, a Walter pistol, 2.2 pistol, right? Which, as you know, Paul, there's not much stopping power in a Walter. Do you know what I mean? But when you're literally, as a lot of these attacks are, within feet of each other, probably within about 10 feet of each other, it doesn't really matter if you've got a heavy caliber, rifle, and someone's got a Walter. The rounds are still going down, down the range both ways. And because he drilled properly, and because he'd thought about what would happen if he was in an attack, he was able to get himself out of that situation on both occasions. I think he got shot on both occasions. In fact, he did. He got shot on both occasions, survived, and returned fire. And that was because he stayed cool in the crisis, because he was trained. So these are the practical things, Paul, because what happens is people tend to despair, right? When this happens, people get angry, and then they go, because guys, here's the thing. This scumbag government ain't going to protect you. No. They haven't the means to protect you. People have got to be able to protect themselves, Paul. This is the thing. And that's
the thing is, Richard, I get what you're saying about the pen and all that. And if you're a young, able-bodied, fit man, that's all fine. But over the years, being involved in 3 situations where self-defense to me saved my life, I would strongly, personally, my own personal recommendation is WD-40. And I tell you why, because it has a long reach, it's a water dispersant. And if you take the can up, if you get the can and put red tape around it, it looks very intimidating, and that will make people stand back. And if you spray towards an attacker, that will make them stand back. Get yourselves a small can of WD-40. Don't leave home without it. And do you know what?
I agree, Paul.
Before, never recommend people carry things like that, but the time has come. This is just now incredible. I want to go back to what you were saying about the king for a moment, Richard. What I was going to say was this, is that, let's be honest, right? The king is coming towards the end of his life. Everyone knows that. It's not a secret. He's in the final stretch, right? If he wants to redeem himself as a king of a great king of a great nation, what he could do is try and take control of this situation. Now, I don't know the legalities, the possibilities, etc. I know that's not going to happen, but I think the comment earlier on was a fair one. We've got over 5,000 people watching, Richard, at 9:30 on a Sunday morning. Guys, please give us an upvote. That would really be appreciated. If you want to jump on the show, anyone, look, I'm putting the link in right now. Hop on. If you want to come on the show, come and join me and Richard. You can come on audio only, ask me and Richard a question, take part. That is what this show is going to be all about in future. It's about you guys taking part. Richard, I believe the king could redeem himself.
Yeah,
who will
I
ask
get
his
that, Paul.
breed.
I get that, Paul. But do you know the problem is,
It's
though?
his job,
I
Richard.
know
He's defender of the faith.
it's also the government's job to protect us. But the
Well, we
king,
can forget them.
Paul, you've got to understand, the king is one of them.
I get that, Richard. I'm
So he's not
saying
going to
if
do
he
it.
wanted to,
But
if
he's
he
not going to.
wanted to.
What we need to do, Paul. The WD-40 is probably the best advice that's been given so far today, because the reality is they aren't coming to help us, Paul. And the other thing I would suggest is that people in local communities. I mean, I was watching Elon Musk talking about this, not about this actual situation, but talking to Joe Rogan about this, and he was on about Tolkien and how Tolkien, basically the Shire were the gentle English folk that they never have a fight in their lives. They don't get involved in anything. It's they just live those nice,
Yeah.
gentle English lives that so many people have lived probably for probably nearly 200 years now, probably since 300 years, probably since the end of the Civil War. England has been a pretty settled country, right?
Yeah.
So the problem is that people in the Shire don't know what to do.
Yeah.
When the orcs come, the people in the Shire, they don't know what to do.
Let's bring Kathy in. Kathy, good morning.
Can you hear me, Paul?
We can hear you, Kathy.
Yeah.
Good morning to you. What's on your mind, Kathy?
First of all, thanks so much for taking the call. I live in Cambridgeshire. I moved from London to get away from all this bloody madness. Lived there for 20 years and it was just becoming terrifying. So we got out of there, moved to Cambridgeshire, and it seems to be following us.
What's
Obviously-
yeah, go on. Sorry, Kathy, carry on.
Obviously, we don't know who's responsible, but everyone can sort of, hazard their own guess at this sort of thing. But all I know is how I feel.
Yeah.
And as a female, I took your advice immediately. I've ordered the WD-40, a 100 ml tin, ordered it immediately on Amazon. I walk my dog at night. I live in a beautiful village, but the other night someone just appeared from nowhere and I was terrified. And
Yeah.
it turned out it was a neighbour, but he was dressed in black.
Yeah.
And I'm now finding myself getting very jumpy, can't sleep at night. This is horrendous. This country needs to be sorted. How we do it, please, guys, we need it sorted. We need this government out. They're doing nothing to save us.
I mean,
totally
Richard,
agree, Kathy.
Richard, listen to this
Totally agree.
lovely woman. She shouldn't have to live her goddamn life like this.
No, but Paul, this is the whole point, and this is why what we've got to realise is the problem we've got is, this government is going to be here for the next 3 years. No matter what, as much as we hate it, they've got a massive majority. All they'll do is move the pieces on the chessboard. They'll change the prime minister, and they will. I think he's going to be gone by Christmas. But the reality is, we need to be organising for what we do next, and this is where we need to be very practical and very, very calm. And what I would suggest, Kathy, is that you start trying to even build community in your area and talk to people, local people, and say, guys, can we have like a walking group, or just get people together that are like-minded and start talking about how we can solve the thing politically, how you can and this sounds terrible, but even how you can defend your area from a marauding attack.
Richard, can I intervene? Sorry.
Of course, yeah.
I live in a village where people would rather hug a refugee. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Okay.
I know, Kathy.
And
I know.
whenever I voice my opinion, even in the mildest tone on our local WhatsApp chat group, I literally get shot down and they don't call me the awful words, but I know that I can read between the lines. So I stay silent. But I live
Unbelievable.
I live amongst people who would rather open our borders wide open. Trust me, guys, people are totally blind. It's now on our doorstep, but they will still feel the same way as they did yesterday. They will never change their minds because it means changing political shirts, and they won't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. James, I can see.
It's what Gad Saz calls suicidal empathy.
Yeah.
Yes,
They're
they've got a
insane,
massive
Kathy.
dose.
And,
Yes.
and that's it. I'm very blessed because the town I live in, there's if in some ways it's kind of trying to keep people calm some of the times, you know what I mean? But So I'm blessed. We have a community that's very resilient, and if it came to my town, believe you me, the people that came to my town would be very sorry they came, you know. But it's like I was saying to Paul earlier, Kathy. It's this idea of the Shire. You know, it's Tolkien's idea of the Shire, the gentlefolk. But the problem is the
Yes,
gentlefolk are stupid and they don't get it. You know.
exactly.
Let me bring James in for a second. James, good morning, mate. I can see you put a mask on there. You don't want to be seen. How you
Yeah,
doing?
you don't want to be seen.
Was
Yeah,
that,
What's on-
it's
James?
just
Was that a Paul Thorpe mask? That looked awful like Paul. That mask.
yeah.
James, what's on your mind?
Bit too pale for
Well,
Paul.
basically, I left Britain 3 weeks ago, and people are already commenting how much better I look because I had a threat from somebody that as soon as I was not in camera range, that I was going to get stabbed up. This is just out of control, and it is now an embarrassment to be British overseas. Now, for obvious reasons, which I would share with the two of you privately, I'm not disclosing where I am. But where I am, they are asking questions. Is Britain safe? Yeah. And the answer is it's not. And I was asked by someone in their 20s, you know, is Britain safe to visit? And I paused. And we both know what that means. But, you know, it's time to get real. I mean, I think, Richard, you touched on a good point there, because I always quote my mother. She said that communities died as soon as we allowed as soon as the motor car came along. But, you know, unfortunately, as Elon Musk said, and this there was a lot about his speech that was missed. Yeah, it will come to you. Today, it's come to them because I've traveled that train before. Yeah, we have lawlessness that we need to tackle, and a strong prime minister would appeal to President Donald Trump to get National Guard and troops on the streets to sort out the mess this country is becoming from all angles. And I feel like a coward. I mean, I don't always agree with the two of you. You know who I am. I don't always agree with the two of you, but today is not the day for that. The fact is, we need law and order, and we need to sort out some of the rubbish that is going on our streets. I'm sorry. I'm just like, I had to laugh when I was going through a barrier. And he asked me, why did you just laugh? I said, well, in London, you just walk through the barrier and you don't pay your fare. That is going on up to nearly 10% of travel. Yeah. People are carrying knives. Deliveroo are delivering more than just pizza. We all know this. Now, I have relatively more free speech. I think, Paul, you're in Spain, aren't you? Or are you back now?
No, I'm in Spain.
I have more free speech where I am now, than I do in my own country.
Course,
and, you know, I will not talk ill of the country I'm in. It's just a joke.
Well, that means, mate, totally James, you could be in Russia. You'd have more free speech.
You would. Russia will arrest less people for social media. Yeah. Yeah. And the police should be ashamed of themselves, really.
Well, I mean, the thing...
Go on, carry on, James.
I mean, the thing is that you talk about self-defense. When you have a situation where, like in America, you don't pee around, where I am now, you don't pee around. You can just tell, just walking the streets, that you are safe, as long as you don't go and doing anything stupid. But for reasons which people have told me quite clearly, law and order has broken down, and it starts with the caller you've just had. If you go into Middle England, I mean, I was in Marlow for a bit, I was in Maidenhead for a bit, and these people, it is like it's trying to reach the woke mindset, and the woke mindset is very, very dangerous, Richard. It's very, very dangerous. And the thing is, unfortunately, and today is not the day for it, is that people feed into that virus. It's like a mind virus. We just don't want to hear anything about the fact that some countries have got extremely bad cultures there. And we need to start saying it as it is, because they are literally coming in through our airports. They are coming in illegally, and these people are showing that they don't share our values. And it is like, we need to, the first thing that any government needs to do, President Trump has done, is to have law and order. And just finally is that if citizens do.
James, I'm just losing your mic there a little bit, mate. Let me just bring Kathy back in for a moment. Kathy, you still there?
Still here, Paul.
Yeah, Kathy, I mean, what you said really earlier on really bothers me. And you know, I agree with everything that James is saying there, but how do we deal with these people that you're talking about that still refuse to open their goddamn eyes? I mean, these people, they are the enemy within. The enemy within isn't even foreigners most of the time. It's our own goddamn people. I said it the other day on the video, Britain has betrayed itself.
Absolutely.
We have
Paul,
betrayed ourselves.
what I do in answer to your question, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Basically, I take every opportunity I can to try and help people understand what's truly going on in this country. I take risks by telling, I open the conversation gently just to see that it's safe to do so before I get reported to the police. But I
Yeah.
don't say anything that's illegal. I'm only speaking truths, as we all do on this channel. But I have found that I've got some people to come over to my way and our way of thinking, about reality and what's truly happening. But the worst thing is suicidal empathy. And as a female, I can tell you, it is a female thing. This is a female. If we could convince more women about what's truly happening to our country, then we would win this battle. We need brave men. That's a given. But this is a female suicidal empathy disease, because women are designed biologically to be the carers, the loving people, the givers, and all they want to do is feed you and love you and clothe you and keep you warm and safe.
Yeah.
And we have that in an abundance that's out of control now, and women don't give that up easily because it's in their DNA, and we need something, and I don't know what it is, because trust me, if I did, I'd bottle it and sell it. We need something to change that mindset in females, and that's not running down my own gender, because clearly, I love being a woman and I love women and I love mankind in general, but I want women to understand that we need to wake up to the dangers. And before I go, I just want to thank you, gentlemen, for everything you do. You give me such comfort listening to you, because as there's not many places I can actually go to feel safe, and your channel makes me feel safe, both of you.
Kathy,
So
Kathy.
Paul and Richard,
And
thank you.
I think what I want to say is, Kathy, I'm hopefully not infected with the positive mind virus, but I'm positive about what we can do if people do wake up. And I think we've probably got enough people waking up throughout the country to hopefully get a government that will actually make change. Unfortunately, we're going to have to suffer a lot for the next 3 years, and that's maybe the price that we're going to have to pay to wake people up. I don't know, but I think what we need is solutions for now, practical solutions like Paul and I have been trying to give. And again, we're not experts in this, but I think it's better to do something than to do nothing if you're ever in that sort of situation. And I also think the government are not going to help us now until we get a new government in, and we need to make sure we get the right government in. I think it's advanced. Again, I don't want to go down the political road today because it's not really the time for that. But and again, Kathy, just hopefully, I'll be praying that somebody comes along in your village that is more of an Aragon or a Strider than a Grimly Wormtongue out of Tolkien. So if you know the books I'm talking about, you know the characters I'm talking about.
Yes, exactly.
So that's what you need, and there will be someone there. There will be someone there. People are still saying about my audio, Paul. It's not a problem. It must be something to do with the show.
No, Richard, it's fine.
Yeah.
Let me bring Julie in. Julie, Kathy, thank you so much. You've been an absolute superstar. I'm glad that we bring you some comfort. I just wish there was more we could do for you, Kathy. I really do. It breaks me heart to hear you say what you've been saying.
Don't give up hope, Kathy, because we're not going to stop doing this until we either drop them to the ground or we get locked up.
We're here for you, Kathy. God bless you. Stay safe. Julie, good morning, hon. How are you?
I'm all right. The only reason I'm hiding my face is because I haven't had a shower yet. It's not.
No, that's no problem.
I thought you only had one eye there for a minute, Julie.
That's the evil eye.
What's on your mind, Julie?
Well, what I was going to say is I'm a little bit worried
Just
about
getting a
what?
bit of, one sec, Julie, I'm just getting a bit of feedback from someone there. Someone's got their computer turned up.
Yeah, just turn your volumes down, whoever's got volume on the
Yeah,
computer.
carry on, Julie.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love Danny, but I was watching him this morning and I am getting a little bit worried. The more this goes on, the more people are going to lose control. So I'd just like to say to people, older people, I asked my grandchildren and my daughters to carry deep heat around with them in their bag. Now, they won't do that, and I think they won't do it because they're worried that if they do spray it, the police will use it against them. So just a little bit of friendly advice from for grandparents. I tell my I hope pray it never happens, but tell my daughters, always have a full tank of petrol in your car so you can get to pick up the kids and that. And I suggest like people start thinking now of where people would meet up, like families would meet up, where they're going to go if they've got family, not in big towns and cities, because I think I'm behind Ben, but even if they do start deporting, there are certain people in this country that are going to kick off.
Yeah.
So we've it's you know, and they go, oh, well, we just Google it. Even if we had a cyber attack, you can't Google things. So, you know, just have a little bit of food and know the weak points in your house, just basic general things to, you know, I'm not trying to scare people. I'm trying to
Julie, I think it's a
like
really
be
good point. I
practical,
think
be
it's a really good point.
practical.
Yeah.
You know, just try and be practical. Where is a meeting point? Have a full tank. You know, go to somebody's family member's house that maybe is in a smaller village. If you need to get out of the town, where are the weak points in your house? Who are your neighbours? Who are the Get your neighbours' phone numbers, the ones that you've known for a long time that you can phone up. Because I think if something, hopefully, it doesn't kick off, but if people do lose control, I think it will happen very quick and you won't have a lot of time
Yeah.
to get out. And I'm not trying to scare people. I just think that we do need to keep being peaceful, but we also need to be practical and we need
Yeah.
to think of these
What could
things.
happen?
Yeah.
Julie,
It could,
great,
Yeah,
you
Julie.
know,
Yeah, I want to
great
come in there as well.
advice. Yeah.
I think all the stuff you're saying is absolutely bang on, Julie. You know, even just silly little things like when you get in the house at night, if no one's coming around, lock the door. You know, make sure you've got a good strong lock on your door, because what we're talking about here, it's not normal violence. We're talking about marauding terror attacks.
Yeah.
People basically, you know, if and there's basically 3 or 4 types of attack that are likely in the UK. The most likely one is a vehicle or a knife attack because it's so easy for anybody to do. You can get radicalized online, become the next jihadi John or Jane, and do what these guys have done on a train last night. There's no warning, there's no planning. Bomb attacks, it's very difficult to defend against a bomb attack. Gun attack, very difficult to defend against a gun attack. But the most likely attacks that you're going to see are what happened on that train. Nearly all the attacks, and even in Israel, in the Intifada, most of the attacks were not gun attacks; they were knife attacks or vehicle attacks. So that's what you really need to be kind of training for. I think the stuff that you said, Julie, deep heat is another great one. I tell you what, if you ever rub deep heat in the wrong part of your body,
my only issue with that is the amount of time it takes to work. It takes longer to work than the one that I suggested. The other thing that I've got to tell you girls is, because I know you're a nightmare at this, it's no good going out there buying a can of WD-40 and sticking it at the bottom of your handbag when you go out, because this is not the supermarket. When you get to the checkout, they won't give you 10 minutes to dig out your purse, right? So when you're out and about, if you're out walking a dog or if you're on the train, you need it where you can put your hand in your pocket and get it out within a split second. Let me just go through 1 or 2 of these. Ernie, thank you so much. Tony, thank you so much. C. Karnstein, can't catch a train, bus, walk to school, take children to dance class or concerts, can't go to the bank or walk your dog. They hate us, same as the government. What a great one. Yes, They're right. Look, you can't catch a train, a bus. You can't walk to school. You can't take your children to a dance class or a concert. You can't go to the bank or walk your dog. Exactly. People have all died doing exactly these things. What a comment. Brilliant. One sec, Rich. Sorry, let me just get through one or two of these. Open doors. Much love from us convicts to you, Poms. Too many scumbags infiltrating the West. Zero interest in integrating with us. The many, not the few. God bless you all. Take care, everyone over there across the pond. Thank you so much. And Gary, thank you. It's shocking, and it was just a matter of time. It started. Ball is rolling. Over 6,000 people watching, guys. Please give that thumbs up a press. James, you're back, mate. Do you hear us, James? No, James can't hear us. James, I'm going to move you out, mate, because you can't hear us.
I think he's frozen, Paul. I think he's frozen.
Yeah, let's just move him out there. The roving reporter, the migrants in our local hotel are getting taught martial arts lessons every week. Disgusting.
I want to come back in on that, Paul, because somebody put in the comments self-defense classes are no good. That's nonsense. I'm sorry. You're just not doing the right self-defense classes. Believe you me, if you learn how to punch, kick and grapple, you've got a lot more chance of actually winning in unarmed combat than somebody that just goes there, that stands there and freezes when they get punched in the face. So, self-defense classes do work. And I'm not trying to, I've done karate, boxing, mixed martial arts, and I haven't had a fight in proper, in anger since I was 20. In fact, since I started doing martial arts, because I realized how flipping dangerous it was to get into confrontation. Not that I'm scared, but if you hit someone wrong, you're gonna damage them. But the point is, if you're in a situation where you're in a conflict, you want to know that you can actually defend yourself and defend your loved one, and that's the whole point of it. So, absolutely, that comment is bang on. That they're doing it. So these migrants are coming in, and we're paying for them to go and learn how to do mixed martial arts. Wonderful. Absolutely. So they can mug people better and carry out better terrorist attacks. Wonderful.
I think the problem for me there, Richard, is a lot of people that watch our streams will be middle-aged or older, maybe not physically fit. And what they need to do is avoid any physical contact whatsoever. If they can avoid any physical contact, that would be great. Yeah, but you really, really do need to think about carrying something with you that is legal, that can keep you out of trouble. Yes. Julie, I'm going to let you go, darling. Have a lovely Sunday. Thank you so much.
Okay, take care. For
coming on again.
Brilliant advice there, Julie. I think your advice was
great advice. Great advice.
Yeah. I was just up because some of the bees had family in Cambridge and they were terrified. So a lot of us were up all night just making sure their family was safe. Yeah. So we're just like trying to. Older people, as you say, they can't defend themselves, but older people have life skills and they can think of what the younger people aren't thinking of, like your house, things like that. What can you use to defend yourself? Which is the weakest points in your house? How do you meet up? All these things are important. Hopefully, I pray to God this never happens, but the more these attacks go on, the more people are human beings, and eventually it doesn't matter how much we don't want it. Eventually, it doesn't take a lot to get things kicked off, and that's why I'm a little bit. If someone could speak to Danny, I know his heart's in the right place, but I watched his video this morning, and I think he's on a knife's edge.
Yeah, I'm sure he's aware of the videos I've made. I've criticised what he said. I understand, and it's not a criticism of Danny. I've just criticised what he said because I understand where his heart's at, and his heart's in the right place. He wants to protect his wife, his kids, and his country, which is absolutely right. But my point is, let's just get some practical. What the practical stuff that we've been talking about this morning is far more important than saying let's all get the men out onto the streets. What do you do when you get the men out on the streets? What do they do? Where do they go? What do they do? You're better building a resilient community, and that's what we're doing in Northern Ireland. We're building little pockets of resilience, and we're not breaking the law. We're not doing anything violent, but we're building little networks that if we end up in a situation like this, that we'll be able to practically help our local community in very practical ways. Because the reality is, it's even once an attack's happened, it's basically reassuring the community, get people just walk, men walking the streets, not vigilantes, just walking the streets, just watching and seeing what's going on. Though we've been doing that sort of stuff over here, and again, it takes a lot of effort and organization. It's a lot easier to just do a video saying everybody, all the men have got to come together. We know that, but it's a question of what that looks like and how you do it legally and how you do it to actually, because the main thing is we want to keep civil society running. If you end up in a situation of tit for tat attacks, which I think what you took, and again, Julie, I haven't heard Danny's thing this morning, and Danny's never said this, so I'm not putting words in Danny's mouth, but a lot of people in the comments come on anonymously and say, "Oh yeah, we want civil war." Well, good luck on that one, because I have a little taste of it from Northern Ireland. It was nowhere near a civil war, but it was very unpleasant. And I tell you what, it'd be a lot worse in England. Be a hell of a lot worse in England because it's so
I'll tell you what I
widespread.
will say though. I'll tell you what I will say though. I feel I'm worried for Danny because I think he's a good lad. His heart's in the right place,
Totally.
and he's desperate. And I'm not going to criticise Danny because it's people like Danny that stormed the beaches and saved our bloody country from the Nazis. So, I get where Danny's coming from. I really do. And do you know what? If I was younger, I'd probably be saying the same thing. I don't know, Richard. It's a really
No,
difficult
I'm
one.
not attacking. Like I say, Paul, I'm not attacking him. Not
No, I know
attacking him
you're not. I know
specifically.
you're not.
What I'm
I know
saying
you're not.
is, once you start calling men to come together onto the streets, my question is, okay,
What do you do with them?
and then what? Right?
Yeah.
What we need to do is, and we don't need to do it publicly, privately, you need to be building groups of resilience in different areas because the government's not coming to help. So every area needs to have their own men, the proper men that are, like you say, lads like Danny, because Danny can handle himself. Danny's not a soft lad. Danny's a good lad, right? So I'm not attacking him. All I'm saying is the idea of calling men out on the streets, unless you've got a plan, it's not a good idea without a plan. That's all I'm saying. If he's got a plan, great, and maybe it's me nudging this way would get him to put a plan together because he's
Oh,
got influence.
don't get me wrong. This morning he made it very clear on his video because he was up a lot of the night. He was
Yeah.
saying, "I'm not calling for anything that will get
Good,
Yeah.
anyone arrested."
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
I
good.
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it's working what you're saying. He's got ideas in the background. I think
Yeah,
he is thinking of like groups to go around and that. But
yeah,
he's
perfect.
such a kind man and he means well
Yeah.
and that,
Yeah,
and he's turned to religion and that.
yeah.
I think that maybe we all need to sort of keep an eye on him for it affects you. I'm not saying he's got his mental health's going,
Mm.
he's
No.
not,
No.
but he's
No.
very thing and he's trying
Julie.
to do things.
Julie, like the rest of us, he's feeling desperate. I mean, I watched the
Yeah.
video this morning and I thought, Danny, I know exactly how you feel, brother. I'm awake all night. As soon as I woke up at 3:30 this morning and I saw the news and I couldn't get back to sleep either. So I know exactly how he feels, and I just hope he takes care and that God looks after him. Julie, I'm going to let you go, darling. I'm
Okay
going
then.
to
Take
thank you
care.
so much. I really appreciate you coming on. James, we'll give you one last chance or one last go. Can we hear you? No, James, we still can't hear you, mate, unfortunately. So
Okay.
I'm going to let you go.
And again, I want to come back on this thing. Like I say, it's when I'm talking about the things Danny said, I'm not attacking him at all.
No,
Right?
I know that, Richard. I know
And
that.
I want to make that very clear because he's a mate of mine, right? I mean, but if you're putting something out publicly, there should be a public response. My point is this: it's a very simple point. And if he's doing it in the background, great. If people are getting in touch with him and they're building stuff, that's great. You've got to make sure what you're doing is legal because what we don't want to do is fill a whole lot of prison cells, and we've already seen it. And I've been aware that I've said things that have been very close to the knuckle in the past. So I'm finally becoming the voice of moderation, not because I am a coward or I don't have the stomach for it. Believe you me, I've got plenty of fortitude. But the truth is, you need a plan, and the plan's there's some very simple things you can do. And the police will hate it, and you'll get called vigilantes, you get called it, but it's not illegal. You can go out walking with 2 or 3 men, and you're not looking for trouble. All you're doing is just watching out for your neighbourhood. It's like a neighborhood watch that isn't tied to the police. Because
Yeah.
let's get it right. I don't trust the police. It's as simple as that. So I don't really want to work with them, right? Not because I'd work with them if I trust them, but I don't trust them
No.
because again,
Who does? I mean, they've
Yeah.
lost the nation, haven't they? Be honest.
Exactly.
Let's
So,
be honest.
so unfortunately, that sort of thing, if you're just going out, walk in the local areas, walk in your area, that's a good thing to do. And we've been doing that in my town for a few months. And we don't make a big fanfare about it, but just a few people will go out, you know. So there's lots of stuff that you can do that's very practical, that's totally legal, that's not going to get anybody nicked. But it just means that, again, you're just building in that resilience, Paul, and even just building. And this is the thing about protests, because Danny said, done with protests, the people that you get on the protests are the people that are going to come out and do the patrols, right? So there's a very good reason for doing protests, because you can build your resilient community by doing the protest, because you know that those guys that are standing with you on the protest, and don't get me wrong, it's like everything. Not everybody always gets on in any of these groups, you know. I always say to people, you've put me in a room for long enough, I'll argue with myself, and most, you know, most groups are like that, right? But the truth is, at least if you've got those groups, you're all of the same accord. You're all going in the right direction. I'm gonna have to shoot off in a minute, Paul. You're all going in the right direction, and I'm going to church this morning. That's another thing I would suggest. If you can find a non-woke church without a lesbian vicar, right? then get yourself to a decent church, and because this battle we're in is a spiritual battle as well as a political battle and an intellectual battle and a physical battle. It's all of those things, and again, we need to be winning the arguments, Paul. The fact that these, I'm going to say it, right, and I'm going to get in so much trouble for saying this, but silly little gushing women that want to go and hug a jihadi when he gets off the boat, they are a massive problem in our country. And Jane's right when she said that. It was Jane, wasn't it? Was it Jane? No, Kathy, wasn't it? Kathy.
Yeah.
Kathy.
No.
Kathy.
Yeah.
Kathy. When Kathy said that, she was absolutely right. That these liberal women, because that's the stats back up that women are far more likely to be liberal, you know, open borders nutcases than men, right? So, yeah. What's wrong with this?
Well, it gives one or two of them the chance to find a partner, I guess. The real John Doe, thank you. We were right to leave the UK under Starmer. My kids, SC123, we're on our own, and people need to acknowledge that, unfortunately. Sadly, I think you're right, mate. We are on our own, really. Mick's a new member, thank you. So is JR Kendall. Yeah.
Bess was at the demo up in Newton Abbey yesterday. We did a demo, so it was a little bit out of my normal patch, and it was great. We had about 100 people, you know, and this hotel, this migrant hotel, is like they've deliberately put it in a place where nobody would normally go do a demo. It's out of town. It's on a big main road. We had 100 people, bacon butties, pork sausages outside the migrant hotel, loads of really good rousing speeches. And if it wasn't for Bess, I wouldn't have had a poppy, because I went up there, shame on me, without a poppy. So she gave me a poppy out of a hat, and that meant I had a poppy when I made my speech. So thanks for that, Bess, and it was great seeing you again. She does her and Claire there do the modding on, and Farty Pants do the modding on my channel. So great lady. Anyway.
Mark Bowman, Neville, are there over 50 baldies to blame again? Yeah, I was thinking about that prick this morning. Mick, one sec, Rich. Mick Phillips, Paul, legal sprays available from Amazon. Yeah, they are. The trouble is with them, all they are is dyes. They don't actually really deter people. There's no physical deterrent.
There's no bite.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much for that. Go on, Richard. What was you going to say?
Forgotten now. It'll come back to me. See, that's why you can't interrupt me. That's the only reason I interrupt, Paul, because if something comes in my head, it's got to get out there straight away, or I forget what I was going to say. So
yeah,
thanks,
Mick. I appreciate that. You know, as I say, you know, the only trouble is, as what Richard said, there's no bite to them. That's the problem. So yeah, thank you so much for that. Where are we? Still got 5,000 people watching, Richard. Unbelievable. We're going to wind it up now. Ty, Steve, keep the faith, people. We will win this battle against the Islamic invaders. Rise up and join together. Do it with love, not hate, and we will win. I hope you're right, mate.
Remember what it was.
Go on, what was it?
Right. Here's the thing. It was what the guy was saying about the white baldies, right? That's why I want
Yeah,
to comment
yeah.
on that. I Me and my missus watch box sets, because it's just once you start watching something, you watch it right the way through. And there's this ITV one, right? And it's about this bomb disposal unit in in London, right? And there hasn't been. I think there's 3 seasons now. There hasn't been one where the protagonists were jihadists, where the people that were actually blowing people up were jihadists. They've all been white army veterans, as far as I can see, right? Or that's been the vibe.
Yeah.
So, spoiler alert: if you're going to watch it, it's the white guy what done it. Okay, it's the white middle-aged guy that did it. He's embittered because the world's hit him so many bad turns, and he's that that has happened once in the UK in the last 10 years, and it was that guy that ran into the crowd outside the mosque. Didn't actually kill anyone. The guy, as far as I know, died of a heart attack. That actually died in the attack, and he's locked up for 45 years. He's never going to see the light of day again, right? But no, every time you see these dramas, and this is why you have this suicidal empathy, because these numbnuts that don't actually read anything, they don't watch anything. And listen, I'm going to tell you something. If you're on the chat, right, I'm going to alienate people now, Paul, because don't worry about them. You won't want them on your chat anyway. These people in the chat that vote for the Green Party, vote for the Labour Party, you are complete numbnuts. There's something wrong with your head. You need to go and see a psychiatrist. You need to go and sit in a dark room, or you need to go and start reading some books. How can anyone vote for Zach Polanski, right? He's on 17% in the polls. How can anybody vote for the Labour Party? In fact, how can anybody even vote for the Conservative Party, for that matter?
Yeah.
When you see that, the 50 million black hole that everyone's going on about. Well, actually, Boris made that black hole by giving 50 billion quid to the EU. And why did he do that? Because Keir Starmer and all those scumbags on the green benches that didn't want Brexit put Boris in a position where he had to rush any deal through just to get it across the line, right? That's why we got a bad deal. So the Labour Party can't turn around and say, oh, well, that was Boris's deal. No, that was a deal that all you lefties in the Labour Party and in the Conservative Party, all you Euro-communists, you didn't want us to leave, so you wanted him to do a really crappy deal. That's exactly what happened there.
And that Zach Polanski is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's a very, very
He's
dangerous
not even
man.
in sheep's clothing, mate. I mean, if he's a sheep, he's a very ugly sheep.
Yeah. Spurs Fit do what they do, boycott all their businesses, kebab shops, chicken shops, well food supermarkets, 24-hour shops don't support their economic growth.
I agree with that 100%.
The trouble with that is that the Brits are people of convenience, aren't they? That's the trouble.
That's it, and that would be intolerant and racist, Paul. So people won't do it because they don't want to be bad people. Well, listen, I tell you what we've got to do, Paul, and we've got to do it politically, and we've got to do it legally, but we've got to make it very, very uncomfortable for extremists to live in our country. Simple as that. They've got to go. We don't want to stay here because these people are horrible. So I will not be buying. I love Indian food. I love kebabs. I don't buy them anymore. Genuinely don't.
Wolfie Conservative 911. Hi, Paul. From what I understand, it's two people who had Islamic views before attacking. They yelled Allah Akbar. They went after anyone they could. Well, as I said, that's what we're hearing, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. Whether it will even be confirmed, we don't know. Netch McGluck, can you post a StreamYard link again, por favor? We're actually bringing the show now to a close. Spurs Fit again. Need a spray that has at least 6 foot range. What does? Well, the best one, as I said, for me, I've already mentioned. Sue, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Richard, we've had a massive audience this afternoon, or this morning, I should say. Still only 10 o'clock at home.
Yeah.
Guys, honestly, I don't know what to say. I mean, another disaster. Where's it going to end?
Well, I think what we've done this morning, Paul, we haven't come on and just ranted and not given any solutions, left people feeling really, up the wall. I think what we've done is we've tried to be very calm and give people solutions. And the last word has to be this: we need to have a government in 3 years' time that will deal with this. And the only one I trust to do this, Paul, is Advance.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Ben,
Now it seems because of the polling and so on and so forth, people be saying it's never going to happen with Advance. But look at how Reform have smashed through the Overton window and basically, you know, got themselves in the position they have. And a lot of that has been on the back of the Tommy demos. It's been on the back of our movement. It's been on the back of social media. And I think when people realise that Advance are the ones that will really do what's needed to be done when they see their policies, they'll do that. And just finally on that, Paul, again, like I say, you've got to pass laws to make it very difficult for extremists to stay in this country. So you're banning halal, you're banning cousin marriage, you're making sure all these laws are enforced. A lot of these laws are on the statute book, apart from the halal one. And you ban the full face covering, and you basically make it very uncomfortable for extremists to live here. Now, there'll be a kickback with that, and that's where, again, I keep going back to it. You need a regiment of the British Army, I call it the Home Defence Regiment, that would have about 30,000 men in it, properly trained, properly governed, rules of engagement so they can't go and do crazy stuff. And that's how you protect your country. And that's, unfortunately, what is going to have to happen until we get this under control. Because at the minute, the tail's wagging the dog. You know, the police are terrified of, let's just get it right, Paul, the police are terrified of a lot of these jihadist scumbags.
Absolutely. That is why they're bowing down to them.
Yeah, so you need to push back, and you need to be strong, and you say, no, we're not having this. We're not going to have our country change beyond recognition. It's already changed. We want to change it back. And I think we've got 10 years, Paul, by which time I'll be 67. You'll be a little bit slightly older, but, you know, and that'll be us done. So this is our last chance to do anything. But the younger generation, if there's any younger people watching this, the baton's going to have to be passed on. And I can put my hand on my heart and say I've been warning people about this for over a decade, over 20 years. So, you know, just get with the program, guys.
Paul, is that Paul Harp, guys and ladies? Wasp nest killer sprays goes 15 foot and clean. Wow,
that's what
interesting.
The CIA woman said to me. She said use. The tins are bigger. Obviously, it's a bigger flipping thing.
That's the problem. That is the problem. Right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I really appreciate it. You know, sending all, obviously, I'm sick of saying stuff like this, but our best wishes and thoughts and prayers are with the victims of yet another terror incident. We've got the Christmas period coming up. God knows what we're going to face in this country. Who do you blame? Well, for me, I don't blame the migrants. I blame the bastards in charge of bringing them here in the first place.
Yeah,
that's my view. Right, guys, we will see you all soon. Take care. Have a lovely Sunday, and I think we'll be back soon, Richard. The way things are looking,
I would think so. I would think so.
All the best.
See you soon.
See you soon, mate.